think you should.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Fire Trader from firetrading.org, and I wanted to do a little video today showing you guys my favorite breakout pattern, as well as kind of going over market cycles, okay? For me, market cycles are very important to pay attention to, the price action for market cycles. And the reasoning behind it is because, how many times have you guys been caught in a breakout and, it's a failed breakout. It pops through resistance level before pulling back and, you take a loss on it. When it could have been avoided just by, paying attention to specific breakout patterns as well as market cycles. I believe that market cycles and patterns go hand in hand, and an effective breakout pattern is nothing if you're not paying attention to the market cycles, okay? So the first thing I want to go over here are market cycles in itself. Basically, what a market cycle is all stocks have them. Doesn't matter the time frame, whether it's the 1 minute, 5 minute, hourly, daily, weekly, monthly. It doesn't matter. All stocks go through cycles. And what this is when a stock goes up and it cycles back down, and it cycles up and it cycles back down, and it cycles up, or vice versa. It cycles down, cycles up, cycles down, cycles up. It all depends on what the overall trend is. But basically, what we do is we get a cycle up, cycle down, cycle up, cycle down. Now, how this pertains to breakout patterns is this is how flags are built. Like a bull flag or a bear flag or something. The stock will come up, and then we'll get that cycle down before we start to get that cycle back up and we start to push, okay? Or there's plenty of different ways. Or if we get a form a bear flag, we come down, we get cycled down, and we kind of cycle back up a little bit, right? And then we break it and we continue heading lower. So the reason I want to go over market cycles is, a stock can't keep going forever. It can't keep going up forever. It can't keep going down forever without getting that cycle. And, I personally, I don't chase stocks. I like to sit back. I like to wait for them to set up, build a flag, build some type of recognizable pattern that I can take advantage of, give me an edge, give me proper risk to reward, and then, that'll give me an entry for a trade with my set stops and profit targets and everything. So, for me, this is very important because, like I said, stocks can't keep going up forever, can't keep going down forever, and you have to really pay attention to the market cycles, because how many times have you guys seen a stock come up to a resistance level? Oops, that was a bad example there. Come up to a resistance level, and then they pull back, and then you look for it to break out of that resistance level, where you take it long, and then it kind of pops up, and then it gets slammed right back down. That's happened to everybody. It's actually a pretty common occurrence, especially nowadays. So the reason why I'm going over these market cycles is because when a stock comes up to a resistance level, you have to wait for it to consolidate underneath that resistance level for some time before it builds up enough energy to continue pushing higher. I've used this analogy plenty of times before in some of my videos, but I like to imagine a snake. And if a snake is all the way extended, it's not able to strike. The only time a snake is able to attack or strike is when it's coiled up and it's able to lunge out, right? So imagine that the same as it's coming up to a resistance level. If a stock is overextended coming into a resistance level, the chances of it breaking through and continuing to push are slim. What happens a lot of the time is a stock will come up to a resistance level, maybe break through it before getting slammed back down below it, right? So now what I like to look for, is a stock that comes up to a resistance level before consolidating underneath that resistance level for a period of time before we can take the breakout for that next leg higher, as it coils up here, building up enough energy for it to continue pushing higher. Or, you know, if it was a downtrend, continue flushing lower. So what I want to go over here is my favorite breakout pattern and the reason why behind it. I personally like to play flat top breakouts. And a flat top breakout is basically when a stock comes up to a resistance level, hits the resistance level, pulls back, kind of comes up, tests it again, makes another higher low, tests it again, higher low, before breaking out. Okay? And the reason, whoops, that was a bad example. The reason I like playing this pattern more than any other pattern is because we are getting a bit of that consolidation. And, you know, think about it as stocks like to move in the path of least resistance. And that's what we use technical analysis for, right? If there's a lot of support below it, then which way is it going to go? It's probably going to go up because the path with least resistance is above it, right? Or if there's a lot of resistance above it, it's probably going to come down because the path of least resistance is down. There's less support below it. So the reason I like to play this is because when we do get that final breakout, we finally get that breakout, we're not bumping into any resistance, recent resistance overhead, right? So why I choose this pattern over, you know, like a bull flag like this, right, is because when we start to get this breakout here, we've got overhead resistance. We've got some there, we've got some there, we've got some there. So what happens is we come up and we get, you know, we have a little bit of pullback here. Maybe we pump up a little bit and we pull back here, and then we pump a little bit and we pull back here, and then we could continue pushing higher. So we've got overhead resistance. We're not taking, the stock isn't breaking out to, it's not following just yet the path of least resistance, okay? This is why I like to trade these flat top breakouts, okay? We can look at a couple good examples here of just kind of market cycles. Show you guys a little bit of, you know, like an intraday. This is a 5-minute chart. Like I said, happens on all time frames, doesn't matter. But you can see we get a cycle down, cycle up, cycle down, cycle up, cycle down. And then here's a good example of the pattern that I like to trade right here on Amazon. So we get a little bit of a cycle up. And now that the cycle up is the cycle up is big enough to where it's the next cycle down isn't going to break the lows. So that's an indication of a bottoming pattern. Now, if you guys see on these cycle ups right here, the cycle up is not very big. That means there's no buyers stepping into it. So that means when it cycles down, it breaks the low and continues to push. But if you guys look right here, the cycle up, this is an indication that the buyers have stepped in right here, and the cycle down didn't have enough to get all the way back down towards its lows, break it, and continue flushing lower. So we set in this little flat top right here at 31.92. We pulled back, popped up, tested it, pulled back, made a higher low. We broke out right there, and that's an entry point, taking it on up. We do have overhead resistance. So typically what I like to look for when I'm playing this pattern are stocks that are up for the day. So stocks that make a little bit of a run, they're green, and then they pull back, put in that flat top, and then we continue pushing higher. But all in all, that's kind of it in a nutshell. That's kind of what I like to look for. Those are the that's kind of my top pattern. I'll play flags. I'll play, you know, like a flag like this one. But when I do, I usually minimize my size just because we do have that overhead resistance. And, you know, we don't know if this resistance is going to hold up and it's going to come up, hit that, and then roll over, right? We don't know. Maybe it'll get rejected at this one. It'll come up here and roll over. Or it'll come up to the highs and roll over. We don't know. That's why when we're playing breakout patterns, like a flat top breakout, you know, we don't have that overhead resistance that we're running into. We're heading off to new highs for the day, right? All right, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That's my top breakout pattern, as well as going over some market cycles. and hope you guys have a great rest of your day.